na 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 na.
I like the way Matt and I, without sharing a word, we're like, yeah, we're going to let him do it by himself.
Hey guys, welcome to the Non-Pro TV party. We do not have the theme music this week due to some studio difficulties, so you have been graced by my lovely, lovely singing voice.
We're done. Right. There's no studio difficulties. There's another show going on in our studio right now, and they're better than us, so we get to do from remote locations.
That sounds like a difficulty to me, Frank.
That crappy show is better than us? Yes. No. Oh, yeah, we're a Non-Pro TV party. Guess what? We're talking about S.H.I.E.L.D. today. Hey, you don't like it? Why don't you write a letter to your congressman and force us to do a different show? We want to do a different show. It's just a matter of finding enough co-hosts that are invested in it. Matt is our swing vote. James will watch anything on TV. I like good stuff. And Matt is the one's like, nope, sorry, S.H.I.E.L.D. only. My TV is for video games and S.H.I.E.L.D. Go to hell, guys. Yeah. So yeah, we're
true.
On this week's episode of Non-Pro's TV Party, we are talking about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. episode. I don't know, whatever. It's probably.
Devils You Know. Yes.
The title.
Devils You Know. Yes.
YouTube. And it's about Hunter being a terrible spy. This was an awful episode, guys. I did not. No, hold on. It wasn't terrible. It was pretty bad. I did not enjoy this episode for the most part. There's a few parts that I think were good, and I can't quite. I keep forgetting about them. In much the same way that Hunter and Ward forgot how to be professional spies. So I'm going to throw it to James. No, I'm going to throw it to Matt, because Matt, I think, is most opposed to me. Matt, what did you think?
I thought it was actually a really good episode. I thought there was some really cool action. And yeah, Hunter was stupid, but that is keeping it consistent with his character. Reminder that in his introduction, he shot Agent May so he could try to take out Creel. He's not exactly the thinking man's spy. He's very impulsive. He does really dumb stuff, as we see. And it's going to lead into consequences. And the other stuff I thought was really cool, but we'll get into that in a bit.
All right, James, be the middle of the road.
No, I'm going to say I pretty much hate Hunter too right now. Well, this is really stupid.
Yeah, all right, can I just get into why I don't like Hunter? No, I don't. It's not that
I like Hunter. But what he did here, the way this went down, was just, I mean, maybe it was from a character point of view, like, incredibly selfish, but it didn't, like, make a lot of sense.
So for those of you at home who are wondering if I'm taking pills on camera, close. These are in a pill bottle. I got it from a Comic-Con. They're like mints that are like in these joyful little little bottles. The sad part is it's from at least 2 Comic-Cons ago, so it's still dangerous.
Nice.
Yeah. All right, speaking of stupid, my issue with Hunter is this. I shouldn't have put candy in my mouth before I began. All right, my issue with Hunter is this. They established that he's obsessed. Okay, I get this. Like, he's obsessed. He wants to protect Bobby. That whole deal is very interesting and very cool. And in fact, if they do plan on doing like this spin-off series with this couple, then yeah, we want to establish that there's some friction. There are any dynamics in their relationship. We don't really know much. So I think it's important to do that. What I think is just trends on the lazy. All right, trends on the lazy from the writers is that his recklessness felt to me like plot armor. Like, he knew how the story was going to go south, and that he wouldn't spoil his chance at avenging Bobby or defending Bobby or avenging himself or whatever by, having Ward have something as simple as security cameras. Like, if Ward had put even the slightest bit of effort of looking at the people who came in as recruits, which is just ridiculously simple. It's like so to the point where it's like not Master Spy level. It's just it almost was more exhausting to remove all the cameras that would have existed that so he can monitor who's coming into his super secret organization. Like that just seems like it was awareness of the story. And I know how things are going to go bad. They're going to go bad in a different way. I'm not gonna like beyond the hunter is reckless. It goes to
All right, we're losing Frank here.
writers. It's where topical.
All
right. So who wants to fight me on that? Anybody?
I don't want to fight you on it per se, but I think I like a little bit of Hunter's recklessness, but it's just a different type of recklessness. So, like, if we look back 2 episodes ago where he was being reckless by being the lesser fighter and going into that kind of, like, boxing match, and then he ended up like, oh, I'm going to have to fight my friend to the death, that's different. Like, that's reckless, but, like, within reason. Like, he was being a bit reckless there by doing it himself, but there was also some like understandability to why he'd like, yeah, but I'd rather May not be in there because, you know, if something goes down, she's the one I want saving my butt instead of me having to save her butt because it isn't going to happen. You know, there's an understandability to that recklessness. I just honestly assumed this would play out differently. You know what I mean? I just didn't expect, one, that we'd get to this point so quickly, 2, that Ward would have really no idea that it was Hunter, and that he would just show up and then it would just be like gunfight time. I don't know.
Yeah.
It played out really haphazardly, and I think it intended to play out haphazardly so that it was realistic. Like, that's the feeling I got from it. I'm like, oh, this would, because that's kind of like what S.H.I.E.L.D. surprisingly does really well, is like, oh, this is kind of how things would go down. But I think, like, maybe in that moment, sure, if that's exactly how it happened, but the fact that they put him in a trunk and brought him there and Ward had no idea who it is, I don't know. It was less cool for Ward, too, you know what I mean? Like, I've been liking a lot of what Ward's been doing, you know, the tacos reference, the whole, you know, 9 yards of what Ward's been doing, but this just felt sloppy, particularly somebody who was, like, really obsessed with S.H.I.E.L.D. But I guess to do a kind of really meta look at it, he's a lot like sloppy version of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 1, which is when he technically was in S.H.I.E.L.D. So,
so basically, covert federal groups are just full of holes. Got it. Matt, do you have anything you'd like to add to this, or is it we're just gonna like you know it's understandable that some people just don't care. They're like, no, I get it. It's fine.
I mean, like, all impressions that I've been reading was that they really, like, their favorite part of the episode was the whole entire sequence with Hunter. Like, they liked the trunk gag, and they thought that it was really gripping when the whole entire standoff at the end. I mean, personally, my thing with Ward, like, I think a reason why he is, quite frankly, pretty sloppy in recruiting is because, like, the guy's completely delusional. He believes he's gonna have a team of friends. And so he really believes that. So which is why he recruits people like on the basis of strength. Okay, if you do what I want to do, then you earn it. Like, he doesn't care about where they're coming from because that's how Garrett recruited him. Like, he has this twisted sense of ideas. Like, yes, I want loyalty, so people will be loyal to me because they're going to clearly follow my worldview if they want to join me. And so, like, I can honestly kind of forgive that. Like the dude's completely off his rocker, and like he was, and so like I could buy like him not being like, you know, completely stringent on recruiting. I mean, as for Hunter's lazy, like well, not laziness, has his recklessness. I mean, I still thought it was a pretty good a character bit for him. I felt like I said before, it's consistent with his character. And like the dude has a death wish. He honestly does. He wants to avenge Bobby, and he took this mission knowing that he was going to die in the end, hopefully taking out Ward with him. But he really doesn't give a damn at all about what happens to himself. And he obviously doesn't care about anybody else because he kind of let May's ex to die or to an unknown fate.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like my take on it.
So the only thing I have to say about your assessment, I think the sequence, despite maybe being plotted out wrong, was, I mean, a fun sequence. I think they had fun with it. I thought it was well shot, and it had a lot of good moments to it. My only issue with, I think, your explanation, Matt, of Ward being crazy is your reliance on that is as a viewer, right? They haven't done, I don't think they've done enough with me to Ward to show that that's the way Ward's recruiting people. You know what I mean? Like that's my thing. You're right. I know Ward is crazy, and I could probably come to that conclusion by picking some pieces we've seen, but they definitely haven't used it at all as a framing device for anything we've seen Ward do.
I'll say
this
that
season.
Ward, I'll throw you this with Ward is that having a contingency plan for May and only May seems to back up the whole Ward's obsessed with his old team. Maybe even less building Hydra, just obsessed. Like he's like Hunter. Who's Hunter? He's a season 2 guy. Never mind Hunter. Like in Ward's head, maybe. But it's a fun thing to think of. And certainly, I don't think James and I are disagreeing with Matt where Hunter is incredibly reckless. Maybe where we do disagree is that there's good ways of showing recklessness, and then there's lazy ways of it. And my opinion is this came out more on the lazy. I don't really think he was being reckless. I think it was just like, don't worry about it. It's fine. It's fine. I'm not that interested in getting Ward, really. It's fine. But maybe not. Here's something I think we did mention that we were both kind of interested. There are 2 awesome things came out of this scene. One of them that relates directly is the May Hunter, which is a technical term that means tension. That was really, like, the whole thing is worth it just to create that tension between May and Hunter, which I think is pretty awesome.
Right. I think that's what's going to be awesome to see that play out. Because I think May's sure as heck not going to let Hunter out of her sight now. And that's just going to be terrible for everybody.
I hope it just next episode opens up with just a couple of shots of her beating him up and being like, all right, now we're even. And then you don't deal with it again.
Well, I guess while we're on the subject, let's talk about the end.
Yeah.
Like the ending. Like, what's up with Andrew? Do you think there's lots of theories going around, but like what happened in place? I mean, like the biggest, oddest thing about that whole entire scene is when we see the young Strucker seem like he was running scared before that building blew up without any of his backup. So
my wife has a theory, and I kind of like hers.
All right, pull her in.
Oh, all right.
Nope.
Too late. It's happening.
Did she duck? There she is.
Hey.
Hey.
What's going on?
Oh, you had headphones on.
James.
Do you have a theory? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a theory on what's going on with Andrew, May's husband, in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D?
He's not dead. He's an Inhuman. That's why he cares so much. That big thing with, like, he wants to work with the Inhumans so much and all that crap that didn't seem to have a backstory but was put in there.
Like him disappearing for a while?
Why he disappeared for her, he needed a reason because he's been taking fish oil, obviously, so he disappeared because he didn't want to bring May into the problem with his powers and all that.
All right. I'll admit, I did not think of that when I had seen the show. I figured they were just like throwing in a Whedon death.
I posted it on Facebook immediately so then I could tell everybody that I was right when it happens.
Right. That sounds like a good thing to do. I've since heard people talking about it, and it
makes perfect sense.
You could post it first, yes.
This is a hot scoop by Katie. Let that be known by everybody.
Yes, let that be known. Change the name of the show. But yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. It's actually the only thing that kind of ties in all the plot lines involving Andrew for the entire season so far, and partially last season too. Like otherwise, he's just like, hey, I'm just this guy.
Yeah, I'm here. I don't know.
Yeah. He's just a damsel in distress. So I think this makes a lot of sense. I think it's going to be interesting. James, was that the? By the way, professional pan. Back to you.
Thank you.
That was very good.
Yeah, that was.
Well done. Yeah, all right. That sounds good. Matt, what do you think? Are you a believer?
I'm gonna take it a step further. I think he's Lash. I'm gonna say he's Lash.
So who's Lash?
The
Andrew.
the big bad dude that's been killing Inhumans this season.
Oh, you think he's the bad guy?
James,
Yeah.
what stupid question are you asking? Are you asking who do
Okay.
think? All right. Sorry,
That's
back
like
to Katie.
rumor online, but I don't understand because we know the actor who played them, or do you think it's just like, oh, well, the guy in the makeup and everything's a different actor? Like, that's a big TV thing that happens all the time?
Well, spoiler alert, Darth Vader was played by at least 10,000 people.
I mean, they could clearly go that, but mostly my belief for that kind of theory is kind of Lash's backstory in the comics. His backstory in the comics is that his mission is to find Inhumans that are considered deemed worthy and unworthy, and chooses whether they live and die based on that. And you combine that with Andrew's obsession with analyzing Inhumans, meeting Coulson's team, and finding other Inhumans just to like figure out what their deal is. I think like that would be a nice good mix between the comic backstory and the show kind of plot, where he uses his psychology background to either find those are unworthy, or maybe like he is crazy in his own way, and so he thinks like if I psychoanalyze these people and they're not what I feel are medically fit or whatever, then I gotta kill them.
Nice.
Well, you know what that means? I have to go and watch that scene where he shrinks down to a person over and over again until I realize who it is.
Seems reasonable. It's the only way to be sure. Or you could keep watching and finding out. I think that's interesting. It's a good part of the episode. I feel like there was one more, but I may be mixing it up with a different episode, or am I imagining that?
I'm sorry, you kind of cut up there.
Oh, I'm sorry. Was there a date in this episode, or did I imagine that? Is that an earlier episode?
There was a conversation. There's a little like not even a B plot, it was like almost like a C plot between Gemma, Fitz, and Bobby, where we kind of learn a little bit more about Simmons' experience on the alien planet, and or a bit like how she's obsessed with wanting to go back, which we'll be finding out this episode, which has already actually gotten a lot of like hype for it. So they're really building up for something big, it looks like.
As much as I dislike the whole "we have to go back" thing, I do have hope for this next episode because it seems like they're trying to do something interesting with it. I feel like we're going to be it's possible we're going to spend most of the time with Simmons in the other world she's in. I don't know. What do you guys think is going to happen?
I think we might get a Simmons-only episode, or we'll get a flashback episode that will be Simmons, but also what everybody else was doing at that time.
Oh, okay. That could also be useful. Yeah. That, I think, is more likely. Less interesting to me, but more likely. I think James hit it. What about you, man?
Because it'll do that. It'll show a little bit about when May's ex leaves. It'll do just a little bit of building up of a couple of things we have lying out there that will lead into some other things. I'm sure we'll get some more Lincoln that I'll be like, whatever, and stuff like that. I think it'll be that.
Seeing Andrew transform during this would be the clincher.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, if Andrew was Lash and then we see him transform, that would be.
Or even just come out of the ashy chrysalis.
Yeah, that would be really cool to see.
All right, well, we're going to need some theme music to sing us out, and then Matt and I, because we have things that are important to say, are going to talk about our what we think is going to come up next on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. James?
Matt,
Matt, what do you think? I'm hoping for a musical episode with Simmons.
I am hoping for the completely background. Simmons only backstory episode. That'll be really cool to see.
Matt, is James's singing distracting you?
I'm kind of tuning it out. But yeah, I'm hoping for Simmons only.
All right, I do. I want a Simmons only with like a musical track, like a Buffy episode, which is just singing. And that's it. She's in the plane of singing. I'd be okay with that.
Or maybe some
Let
80s
us
track
know,
where the
kid.
Guardians like pop in.
Yeah. Hey, that guy who's a raccoon, he's back on TV. Why can't he be on the show?
Bradley Cooper?
Yes.
He's done like 2 episodes of Limitless because
That's not what they say in the previews. They're talking about it nonstop.
he's like in 2 episodes of Limitless and he's an executive producer.
All right. Well, he should still be on guest starring. Well, they could get Seth MacFarlane to voice Howard the Duck again. Spoiler alert. All right, guys.
No,
I
that
hope
was
you
Seth
enjoyed the
Green. I
show.
thought. Seth Green who voiced Howard the Duck.
What did I say?
MacFarlane.
Who the hell's Seth MacFarlane?
Family Guy.
It was Seth MacFarlane.
That was
With Seth Green.
Oh my God, we have the internet.
Look it up. We're on the internet. We can't let this show close without knowing that. Come on. It was Seth MacFarlane. It was Family Guy guy.
Seth
Seth
Green
Green is
voiced.
also on Family Guy. That's why my brain farted. But
Also
it's not-
voiced on Family Guy, yes. He's Chris on Family Guy, but he's the guy who did Robot Chicken.
Yeah. And it's Seth MacFarlane who played the voice of Howard the Duck in the teaser of Marvel. I need this no prize. Please confirm this for me.
Guardians. Seth Green. Seth Green was the voice of Howard the Duck in the post-credit stinger. The Robot Chicken creator and Family Guy voiceover actor.
My mind is blown. Oh, I needed to feed my family on that no prize. All right, you guys close the show out. I'm done.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Or our TV party hangout. We will hopefully see you guys again next week. And if you have other things you want us to talk about, because we certainly have tons of things we talk about, I certainly will watch anything. Send us a message, or leave us a comment, or visit us at Non-Productive.com and let us know.
Be sure to also check out the rest of our YouTube channel. We have a bunch of neat content. Some of it I made myself.
Don't.
Do my own horn. But yes, please like and subscribe us on YouTube. And yeah, check us out at Non-Productive.com.
Terrible. Seth Green.
Have a good night, everybody.